Hey, thanks for tuning into the podcast. I'm here with Ashley Latzke, hairstylist. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm Ashley Latzke. I grew up in Good Thunder, Minnesota, south of Mankato. I graduated from Maple River. Live in Gaylord right now, and I've been there almost 17 years. I am married to my husband Kyle, and we have two kids. Archer is in sixth grade, and Sawyer's in fourth grade.
Awesome. So where did you receive training to become a hairstylist?
I went to the Cosmetology Training Center in Mankato,
Okay.
CTC. It used to be downtown. It is currently called the Nova Academy. So it's up on Hilltop.
How long of a program is that?
Depending on your hours, it's 10 and a half months to a year. So,
Okay. And then what does it take to what is the proper term for it? Is it called a cosmetology license or a beautician's
yeah,
license?
cosmetology.
What's
Yeah.
involved in getting that and then maintaining it? How long is it good for? How does that sort of thing work?
Schooling is 1,550 hours. You have to have so many haircuts, so many shampoos, all this kind of stuff. You have to have theory, laws. You test out at school, and then you have to go to the state and take a rules, laws, and theory test as well. And then you can get your license that way. When I first started, you had to work so many hours in those first 3 hours that your license expires. But now you have to take an 8 hour continued ed class, which is 4 hours is safety and sanitation, and the other four is keeping up with like haircuts or business management, something like that.
You talked about learning about laws. I guess that's not something that maybe I would think of you need to be aware of, but like, what do you mean in terms of laws that are applicable to stylists and people that work in that industry?
Gotcha. Like we have to how we sanitize our equipment. Like our scissors has to be sanitized a separate way.
Mhm.
Like you've seen like clipper side on my station, like that's for the scissors.
Sure.
We use hospital grade stuff for our combs, and how the temperature for laundry has to be.
And there's all sorts of industry standards that need to
Yeah,
be followed for that. Okay, that makes
yeah,
sense. That makes
yes.
sense. So your business is unique in that it is not only a hair salon, but it's also a laundromat and a rental property. Now, that's the configuration that it was when you purchased it, right?
Yes, yes.
So, well, I guess I have a couple questions in regards to that. So, first of all, have you ever worked? I'm sure you have. You've worked in different settings. Have you worked in like chain
Yeah.
haircut places, chop shops, as my sister would call them? So, what are the advantages to working in like your own setting as the owner versus working for a bigger company or maybe working for a smaller company with a couple people? Like, I'm guessing you've done all of them.
I haven't done like the really small business thing. I've had like a chain salon up in the Twin Cities. It was called Beauty First. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but that was like 20 years ago. And I've worked at chain salons as well, like specialty ones with haircuts all the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
So the pros of having your own is that you get to set your own hours and like which is perfect when with having kids and getting to activities.
Yep.
Like you don't have to ask anyone. You do have to order all of your own stuff. You have to make sure you're following laws and rules because the state can just come by and inspect you at any
Does
time.
that happen with any frequency?
Um, it's probably been about a year since I've been inspected.
Hmm.
Um, so I have to have an owner's license.
Yep.
I have to have a manager's license. So all of those I have to have. But
Got it.
being your own boss, if you're gone, you miss a day, you don't get paid. There's no vacation.
Right.
So
And I suppose you need to be conscious of the fact, like what you're, charging to cover your rent of the place versus figuring out you know, how you're paying yourself and how you're putting
yeah,
away for your retirement and things like that.
right.
I would have to
Yes.
hire a person for that, or I would spend all my money and I would be totally broke
Yes,
fast.
because of taxes too, you have to pay
Yeah,
quarterly
sure.
taxes, so you have to
Sure.
put so much away too that you're expecting to make. So you can pay those every quarter as well. And
So
when you work for somebody, you don't have to think about that.
what's the
Like,
laundromat side like? What's that been like? I would imagine that could be
Um,
frustrating in terms of like maintaining equipment and things like that, or
yeah,
not so much.
So it all depends. Like Kyle, he has a mechatronics background. Like
Mhm.
that's what he kind of does. So he fixes things. He knows how mechanically and all that kind of stuff works, which has been really nice because that saved us a lot of money.
Mhm.
Like parts in general are expensive, but if you can have him fix them, which is great. I don't deal a whole lot with laundromat.
Okay.
Like if people have problems, they come over and talk to me about it or ask for change or something's not working. I have learned how to fix a few things.
Mhm.
Like in the winter, one of the pipes rose, so I had to go in there and fix that and just turn off or whatever until Kyle could get there. But
Sure. Got it.
yeah, but it's definitely an interesting an adventure.
Got it. What is your favorite and least favorite part of the job?
My job.
Yeah.
All right. So I tell my kids that I get to go to work and I get to be with my friends all day long because I'm having wonderful conversations with everyone and it doesn't feel like work. Um, the other part is when I get home, I don't want to talk to anyone because I've
Hmm.
been talking all day long
Hmm.
and just being on your feet all day long. It's just kind of tiring. And I don't know if there's any other cons to it.
Okay.
I mean, full of hair every day, but I've
Sure.
gotten used to
Part of the
that.
gig. What's the weirdest haircut, hairstyle, color you've been asked to do? Did you carry it out? And
Um, this guy, I remember probably 15, 20 years ago at a chain store I was working at, came in and asked for a skullet. So which he wanted the top buzzed like all the way, and then it was longer in the back. Probably like longer than the top of your hair in the back. So just kind of blending that. So that was one haircut.
wow,
The only time I've ever done that haircut. But yeah,
is
that
that
was
in
really
some movie or
interesting.
something like that? I don't know how you randomly just
I
come
don't
up with
know.
that.
I
That's
feel like that's just
was
how.
it like for a Halloween party or something? Or
No,
wow, hey, good for that guy.
you're right. Yes.
If you're somebody going to a hair salon, getting a haircut or getting a color or a perm or whatever, how can you be the ideal customer? What are some things that you know, not any of your current customers, of course, but like what are some things that are maybe pet peeves about people that come in to
Well, I just think like wear something comfortable that you know will get hair, or if you're
Mhm.
in for color service. I mean, I cape you up pretty well, but
Mhm.
if something were to happen, like just wear something comfortable that you don't care,
Sure.
which is totally fine with me. You don't even have to wash your hair. Like that's totally fine with me. We can do that. Sometimes it works better if your hair is freshly washed though to get a haircut.
Sure.
Um, and kind of knowing what you want. I mean, sometimes I like people to give me that creative freedom to do what I see fit.
Yep.
But if you're not quite sure what you want, but you tell me all these things you don't want, I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Have your mind made up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about tipping. So, in the restaurant industry, now I would say the standard is probably 15 to 20%. I don't
Mhm.
feel like that's talked about a lot in the in your line of work. Like, what do you think is an appropriate tip to give to your stylist?
So a lot of people believe like since I'm an owner, like and I believe this that I set my prices and I don't expect a tip from anyone.
Sure.
Like, but I greatly appreciate it when I do.
Sure.
But it's not one of those required things. But when I worked at a chain, like those haircuts were really cheap. So
Hmm.
the average was like $2. But like when someone gave you like a 20 and told you to keep the change, it was pretty awesome.
Got it.
So there's quite a few people who did that,
But
but
you don't feel that there's necessarily a standard or anything like that. It's more,
I think so. If you can give it, you give it. If you don't, I totally understand. Like, I don't know, when I worked at a chain, like it actually worked out pretty well. Like when you average your hourly, your tips, and like how many haircuts you did an hour, that all kind of went into your pay.
Mhm.
So it worked out pretty nice.
A lot of times when you walk in, places like that, there's product for sale. Is
Mhm.
that, do you do a lot of business in selling product? Is there like a good profit margin and something like that, or not really?
Not really. I don't mark mine up too much either. Because I wouldn't want to spend that much money on some of that stuff either.
Hmm.
So it is good quality products, but
Yeah.
if you really want to push it and you can make more money, but I have it there for that, but I don't have it to like, oh, I'm gonna get
Sure.
crazy rich off of these.
Makes
No, because
sense.
that stuff has gone up in price too for us
Yeah.
too. So,
Yep. And I'm guessing the last thing people want is to go to get a haircut and go, hey, you can buy this and this and this and this and this and this. And you're not
and
gonna
it's like
use
5 times your
yeah, it's
haircut
like,
or whatever.
oh, I'm
I know I
fine.
don't like
Yeah.
pushing it. I
Yep.
don't like, oh, you really need this. But if you want it, hey, here it is.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough. What are your strengths as a hairstylist? Are there certain types of cuts or styles that it's your niche, and then maybe other things that you don't do as much of? Like what's your strength?
okay, I love doing haircuts. Haircuts is my absolute favorite thing ever. That's why I liked working in a salon where I specialized just in haircuts, so I could just focus on that. I love being able to give someone a haircut and it totally transforms them.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially springtime, a lot of people want to do a completely different change, and we cut a lot of hair off. And I wouldn't say specifically there's a haircut that I like to give, but haircuts is one of my top favorite things. Um, the least favorite thing is updos. That is not my thing. I do not offer them at my salon. Please do not ask me to do them.
So you don't get involved in the prom stuff,
No,
or
I'll do men's haircuts, boys' haircuts for prom, but
okay,
I mean,
got it,
updos, no.
got it.
Mhm.
One of the things that I'm kind of I think I'm going through a phase right now doing this podcast. I don't know how long it's going to last, but there's no real goals or anything. But one thing I do want to do is kind of promote some local businesses, and I do want to like shed some light on tradespeople and the service industry, because I think that that's something that we need to try to encourage more people to get involved in. I think, and I think that the 4-year college university thing is a great option for some people, and
Yeah,
for others it's not. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, and I think that people need to, you know, understand that these are good careers that, you can make money in and do well. So
yeah.
with all that being said, what is some advice that you could offer to a young person, be it a man or a woman, that wants to get into this line of work and is thinking that they may want to do this for a career when they exit high school, maybe?
Okay, well, like I really enjoyed the whole aspect of cosmetology because I felt that was very artistic and you change so much with it, but it's an ever evolving career. So if you want change and there's different avenues you can go into, like you can teach people how to cut hair, you can do makeup, you can specialize in a lot of different things, areas. It covers a lot. But I went because I did not like high school and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get out in like a year and I can start working right away.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see myself going to a 4-year school,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to push anyone to do 4-year school, but we really do. Even before COVID happened, we were really short hairstylists, and it's still a continued problem. Like when I went to school, there were so many people doing hair and going to school for it, and it's dropped.
Yeah,
Like because basic starts and there's not a lot of people in it anymore. So
got it.
yeah.
Thought of two quick things. Have you ever had to do the locks of love thing where somebody comes in and has what's the length required? Is it 10 inches or 12? And
So I don't do locks of love. We do, well, it's like wigs for kids.
mm,
Um, that other company was selling the wigs. And so wigs for, yes, like, so people were sending in donated hair and they were making wigs and they were charging these people.
oh my God.
But wigs for kids does not. So I have done those, and you have to have a minimum of 10 inches of hair. And they want it non-colored and not like chemically processed or gray hair. They want like natural as you can get
Mhm.
hair, because then they can kind of change what they need to change with it. So,
Got it.
and then you can fill out the form, you can send it in to them by yourself. So
And they're not gonna sell it.
no,
That's
no,
that's crazy.
yes.
All right. Well, I think that concludes my questions. Is there anything else you want to share? Oh, we're gonna obviously put a link to your salon. Now you can book online or call, right? Or
Yes, I have a website. You can go on there, you can look what's open on my schedule, so you can compare with your schedule and you can book it that way. You get a reminder a couple days ahead of time and an hour ahead of time. But yes, you can call as well, or you can stop in. So,
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
thanks so much for sitting down and doing this.
Yes.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.